Thank you for buying the generic interaction component. In this video, I will cover how to integrate the generic interaction component with your character. Now, this integration is exactly the same whether or not you have a first or third person character. Now, I'm using the first person template example provided by Epic, but again, this will work regardless of what your character is. Now, if you haven't checked out the demo map, I highly encourage doing so, and that's where we'll be testing our integration. You can find the demo map in your content browser by going to Generic Shooter, Add-ons, Interaction, Examples, Maps, Demo Map. It's a long path, but it's very clean and it won't clutter the rest of your project. Once you're in your map and you hit play, you will notice that a demo character is already provided for you, and it looks just like the first person template because it is a modified version of it. You see, if I press this button over here, these doors will open. Now, first thing we want to do is switch to your character. In the World Settings panel, with this level open, you will see a property here called Game Mode Override. Go ahead and change this from the Interaction Demo Game Mode to your game mode, whether that's the third person template, first person template, or your own custom game mode altogether. Now, because I'm using the first person template from Epic, my game mode is called First Person Game Mode. So I'll go ahead and choose that, and I'll hit play. And after I hit play, you'll notice that we still have our gun, but we will not be able to press this button because our character has no idea how to press a button. So let's go ahead and fix that. So first thing we want to do is find our character blueprint. Now, Epic's first person character blueprint is located in first person BP blueprints right here called first person character. Now, when you open this up, you'll see a bunch of stuff already provided by Epic. We're just going to add a few more things to this to make our generic interaction component work. First thing we're going to do is go to our class settings. In our class settings on the right, you will see an interface list. An interface lets blueprints communicate each other without knowing the full internals of a blueprint. Now, I'm not going to be covering exactly what an interface is here, but one is provided that you do need to implement. In order to add the generic interaction component interface, simply click this Add button, and you'll see that there are three provided for you. The one that you want for your character is BPI Generic Interactor. Anything that interacts with other things should implement this interface. So let's go ahead and choose this interface and immediately hit compile. Now, you should be prompted with an error here in the compiler results. Go ahead and double click this and you'll be brought to this function get@interaction_ignore_list. The error here is this interface is expecting a function that returns a list of actors to ignore. Now, this is an advanced concept that you don't need to worry about now, but we do have to implement this function. So all you need to do now is drag out from the actors to ignore pin and make an array. Now, with this make array node, go ahead and right click this 0 pin and hit remove array element pin and hit compile. So all we're doing here is we're telling this function to return an empty array. This function doesn't do anything for us right now, but it will satisfy the blueprint compiler and it'll make everything happy. Now, there are a few more functions that we need to implement, but in order to implement those functions, we're going to need to add some components first. The first component you're going to want to add is the generic interaction component. This component drives all the interaction behavior, and it's pretty customizable, but we're not going to touch any of those settings right now. We just need to add it. Now, the next component we're going to add is a physics handle component. Now, this is sort of an optional component, but if you want to be able to pick up things in the world and drop them, then you're going to want to add this physics handle component. This physics handle also shows up in the bottom of this list here, and in order to tell the physics handle where to carry stuff, we're going to have to add one more component called a scene component, and I'm going to attach this to the first person camera. Now, the reason for this is I'm using the first person template, and I want the place of where I hold an object to move with the camera, so it just makes sense to attach it to the first person camera. You, on the other hand, if you're using the third person character, might want to attach it to the character mesh itself, the capsule component, or the third person camera. But the idea here is wherever you attach this scene component, that is where your character is going to be holding things from. I want to rename this scene component physics handle location, And I want to position it out in front of the gun, like so here. I want to make it a little lower. That's just personal preference. Again, it doesn't matter exactly where you put this, as long as your character has one. And then we're going to tell the interaction component where this scene component is. So on the left here, if we expand interfaces, interactor component usage, we see you have a few functions here. The first function that we're going to implement here is get physics handle. This is simply asking, what is the physics handle of this character? All we need to do for this is drag out physics handle from our components list and connect it to this return node. And that's all you need to do here. This function is done. And another function we need to integrate is get physics handle target location and rotation. This function is basically asking, where do we hold things from, such as soda cans or other things that you can pick up. I'm going to drag our physics handle location out from the components list, and I'm going to pull out two nodes from that, get world location, as well as get world rotation. Make our blueprint nice and pretty here, and connect these to this return node, like so. Now these are the only two functions that we need to integrate from the interface side. There is one more thing we need to do, and that is to tell the interaction component to begin the interaction. That is to actually hit the button or whatever we're looking at. In order to do that, we need to have some sort of input key to drive it. I always prefer the E key, as many games do, but again, you can use any key or any input mechanism you want. The important thing is that somewhere in your event graph, you're going to pull out the BP generic interaction component and pull out the interact function. Now that you have your interact function, just simply connect that to your input event. And for this example, when we press E, we will fire off the interact event. That is all the implementation necessary to integrate this component and the entire interaction system with your character and your game. So now if we press play, you'll see that our character here is now able to open this door. Walk around here, it's able to interact with things, and this level provides a lot of examples on how to set up different interactions, such as this interact counter, as well as lots of tutorials on how to build things and how to get them all working together. Look, now we have a soda. This soda can is being held by our physics handle at our physics handle location. Now, I'm going to go ahead and throw this soda can away. You can actually put any soda can you want in this trash can, and this door opens. And the world of possibilities of interaction are now open to you, and please explore this demo map. Have a good day.